What's up, everybody? Why is everybody re-exposing Phaedra? And we got some new stuff, so y'all know we gotta talk about it. Like the video as the intro, please, because we got a lot to get into.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. I want to make it make one.
Big moves. Surfer. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things in your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things in your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
I remember when Kandi hair used to look like this. I fly above. I fly above. I fly. No, that what you? No, I fly above.
Okay, y'all. So let's start. Y'all know that Kenya Moore got interviewed by Carlos King. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about it tonight on a live or tomorrow afternoon. Probably lunchtime we'll do it. But this is what she had to say as it pertains to Phaedra Parks.
Accused of being alcoholic.
Oh my God.
Drunk.
It's someone who's never been drunk a day in their life. God on a hand on a Bible. I have never been drunk a day in my life. I have been tipsy. I've been feeling good from alcohol. I have never, ever in my life,
blackout
even
drunk.
to this day, have never been drunk a day in my life. And you have people accusing me, and you know that's a trigger because guess what? Who accused me of that? And I had never even tasted alcohol.
What she's talking about is her mother had done that to her when she was 16. And that's why when Phaedra did it to her on the show, it was a trigger.
Before my mother. Remember
What?
the story I told you earlier? She told those people that I was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I don't even like liquor like that. You know what I mean? Anybody who's
don't.
ever gone out with me, if I get 2 drinks, that's rare.
Yeah.
That is rare.
And you're like, that's what I'm saying. You not get a little tipsy, but when your tipsy is fun and it's whimsical. Yeah, you're
I'm a fun girl when I drink, but I've never been drunk.
So that hurt you.
It hurt
Because
me.
when Phaedra was calling you an alcoholic, it reminded you of your mother.
And what else did she say? I confided in her about my mom thinking that she had a mental illness because of the way that she treated me. And Phaedra used that when we fell out. She used the 2 things that were my ultimate triggers, saying that I had some kind of illness because of my mom, and saying that I was an alcoholic. And that all leads back to my mother and her treatment of me and the things that she did to try to destroy me. And that is why I have the opinion that I have of Phaedra now, amongst other things.
So if you don't remember,
I think she was drunk that night.
It just seemed odd.
I thought she just had a drinking issue.
She wasn't. Nobody was drunk at that point. She was not drunk.
okay, so right there, Portia and Cynthia didn't even like Kenya at that moment, but even they said she was not drunk. And look at Phaedra's face. They called her out in real time without even realizing they were calling her out.
Kenya drinks like a fish and then acts like a fool. So I think that's very indicative of a definite problem. You know, I think she could have a chemical imbalance.
Oh, you think so?
I think so. You know what? That's not right. Just now
They did not even like her, and they are defending Kenya.
looking at the everything in totality with you, her, me. I'm like, well, you know, that's how bipolar people act sometimes. Okay, this is out of control.
Y'all, you never win when you play dirty, Phaedra. You never win when you play dirty. And we'll get into it a little bit more when I do my live review of the Carlos King Kenya Moore interview. But let's move on to Kandi. This is what Kandi had to say.
Of the reunion that year, she was like, oh yeah, how's everything going with your restaurant? Now, people, which y'all don't know, or what I thought I explained back then, maybe some of y'all don't forget, my restaurant wasn't
city and calling people. I remember you saying
yes,
yeah.
for some reason, like I had passed everything before the board, but my liquor license had not been signed off on, and we were supposed to be opening our restaurant, but for some reason it hadn't been signed off on. And when she did that, I knew that she had something to do with it because she was cool with the person who had to sign off. Let's just say that at the time. Okay. And so my whole thing was, it's one thing for you to try to tear me down on the show, right?
Yeah.
But then you also trying to
outside
affect
the show.
my life.
And you know you don't affect Kandi's business because she will come with the receipts.
Receipts? Do I need to bring the receipts,
No.
baby girl? Because I got receipts.
Now, y'all can do the math. Do you think it's a coincidence that Phaedra was asking about these things and all of a sudden it's her and they're signed off on? Also, she was able to kind of flippantly talk about everything that was going on in Peter's businesses. She knew he had 28 liens, which technically could have been because she's an attorney and she looked it up. But if she was clear on having friends that were city officials, y'all tell me in the comments, do you think it was a coincidence?
Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence? I ask you. Is it a coincidence?
Now, Kandi had said this at the reunion.
A baby comment? Like, who does that?
Well, Phaedra, at the same time, you have done some weird to me in the past. You know, you're very secretive at times, and you work on your get back now. You have that Scorpio thing in you. So, you know, I didn't know, like, okay, she mad.
So they were telling us consistently about the things that Phaedra does. I do think that we all pretty much knew it, but if you didn't like Kenya, then you were naturally going to like Phaedra. And so what's funny about seeing reality TV fans is you do see a lot of times where people can get away with anything and their fans will make excuses for it. But if you got everybody saying it about you, it might be true, i.e. Nene.
To bring Marlo on this show. You met with Marlo outside of these cameras and talked to her. And I do know you wanted Marlo to be in this situation because you thought that Marlo and I would have an issue about Charles.
Was part of the thing that
Nene was very clear on this reunion.
Attracted you to Marlo, the idea that she was with this guy who it was rumored that Nene had had a thing with.
Well,
And then
Marlo and wanted Marlo to be on the show. And then when her and Marlo's relationship changed, then Marlo was a criminal and a thief, and she was from the dumps, she was from everywhere. But in the beginning, she was from the upper echelon. We don't.
Let's not forget.
Went and talked to my half sisters who I haven't had a relationship with in over 8 years. You went and sat with them and tried to dig up dirt, and then you took them to your son's birthday party. And my half sisters do not know you, and you know they don't. You were trying to act like.
I absolutely believed everything that Nene was saying about Phaedra, but it is indicative of who Phaedra is as a person. Phaedra will throw a rock and hide her hand. Now, I don't know if this new iteration of Phaedra, I'm extremely excited to see her on Married to Medicine, will be the same. I believe Dr. Heavenly said she had to pull Phaedra out because what we've been seeing on Ultimate Girls Trip and on Dubai is not the real Phaedra. I do think that Phaedra had a shift when she saw how the fans were extremely receptive to Portia. All of a sudden, that was her best friend, because at first she had said she had a little brain. Everything was Kandi, Kandi, Kandi. Then when she saw Portia's reception from the fans, all of a sudden she had the weave. She, got a little plastic surgery and then started doing more of like the ditzy thing. But they had been trying to warn us a long time about this woman.
Act like they're from Athens. My whole family is from New York City. My sisters graduated in New York City. I was born in Queens, New York City.
They came to
I went to high school in
quite a bit.
Athens, Georgia. And
This was a good reunion. But then let's not forget old Angela Stanton, who I am not a fan of, but I believe the stuff that she said about Phaedra and Apollo.
Insurance checks. And of course, I was the one that would go into the bank with the identification, deposit the check, and then go back to the bank and withdraw the money, whether it was $27,000, $30,000. This went on for about 2 years. And then I ended up catching a charge, getting a location, deposit the check. Of course, I was the one that would, and at that time, they were remaking fraudulent insurance, a business relationship that the two of them had. And at that time, they were remaking fraudulent insurance checks. And of course, I was the one that would go into the bank with the.
When she said they, she means Phaedra and Apollo. Now, remember, Angela Stanton wrote that book about Phaedra. Phaedra sued her and lost, and Angela was allowed to write the book. Now, there were some things in this book that they made her take out because she could not prove. Angela said that Phaedra had boiled some root and gave to her to terminate, I don't want to say that. That Tasha K did an interview with Angela. Angela made some accusations that I don't really feel comfortable getting into. But what is important to hear about that is for that particular accusation, it it had to be taken out of the book. Meanwhile, all of the other accusations, I guess they could be proven because not only were they not taken out of the book was sold, and Phaedra's case was dismissed without prejudice. So it is interesting that more of these stories are coming out. Not the Angela and Nene. We all knew that. I just thought those were funny. But new stories are coming out. And the rollout for Married to Medicine, I think, is going to be November. So this should be extremely interesting once Phaedra starts doing promotion for the show to see what she puts out. I will be here for it all. Remember, I will be doing a live about Kenya Moore and Carlos King's interviews. You will want to see that live. I gotta go. I'm gonna see you guys later. Put in the comments, do you believe other girls? Or do you believe Phaedra? Because we all know Phaedra does have fans. So have a good one.